Hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast, where you'll learn how to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit. No influencer status necessary. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and we are currently in a series where I'm bringing in special guests to talk about unique ways to up the experience and engagement your summit brings. Today in episode 118, I am so pumped to be talking to the expert in custom boxes about how to incorporate them into your virtual summit and why you'd want to do it. To give you some background information on our guest, he is a serial entrepreneur and founder of the Custom Box Agency, Virtual Social Box, and Rough Street Digital. Before he became an entrepreneur, he was a top-rated strategy consultant at Deloitte Consulting, which is the world's largest consulting firm. He's a 5-time Spartan Trifecta holder, South by Southwest startup mentor, and I've been lucky enough to personally work with him to bring custom boxes to Summit in a Box, and let me tell you, it has been such an incredible experience. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk with Mark Stern. Welcome, Mark. I'm so pumped to have you.
Oh, it's so good. I love connecting with you, Krista. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, this is going to be a blast. Before we dive into all the custom box goodness, and I know you could talk about them all day, tell us about what you do at Custom Box Agency.
Yeah. So I help clients create custom box experiences. We talk about experience by design. So where we differentiate versus the market is that a lot of people, when they think about getting a physical box in the mail, it's a swag box. It's like a t-shirt and a water bottle. We look at it and say, don't just put swag in a box, truly create an experience that brings physical and digital together. So how can I send you something in the mail that eliminates the barriers to success, increases engagement, rewards you and incentivizes you to get to the next level? So there's so many different things that you can do with boxes, but we show our clients the power of different ways to leverage the boxes at the point of customer acquisition, fulfillment, and retention. So lots of fun.
Heck yes. Oh my gosh, so good. And I'm just thinking like our people have just started getting boxes as we are recording this, and everything you talked about, like Mark is the go-to person if you want to create an experience through box. So one more step before we dive into how boxes fit into Summit specifically, I want to take a minute to let you share about the power of bringing something physical like a custom box to a virtual event or anything that's usually fully online. And I know this is something that you are so passionate about. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's so funny, and it's so relevant now more than ever since, we're in this age of COVID. And I feel like when COVID happened, we were all feeling so disconnected in a time that all we wanted to do is feel connection. So one of the things you have to realize is when you go to a Disney World, when you go to a movie theater or to a restaurant, it's a fully immersive experience. You connect to it differently because you're activating all the senses. When we talk about senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. When you shift to a digital only platform, like when we're in quarantine, everything that's digital is really just tapping into two senses, the sense of sight and the sense of sound. So it's one of those things that like the barriers to entry to create a digital product are so low, but everyone is just competing with what you see and what you hear, a podcast, what you hear, a YouTube video, what you see and what you hear, scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, what you see. The cool thing about boxes is I can't recreate Disney World. I can't recreate going out to that restaurant that you love, but I can activate touch, taste, and smell in addition to what you see and what you hear. And just bringing in those other dimensions, it's just such a powerful way to connect with people. It's a lot more intimate of an experience. And especially when you can think about like, what is the problem you're trying to solve as to why they're engaging with you? If I can accelerate that timeline by sending you something physical, you bring that kinesthetic element that you just can't get with a digital only or audio only product.
Oh my goodness. So true. I love everything about that. So building on it, what kind of benefits have you seen a physical box bring as a part of a summit specifically?
Yeah, it's such a great question. I feel like we could take this in like 1,000 different ways, but here's what I usually say is we've tested out having the box be the core call to action that you buy and receive after a summit. We've leveraged it as incentivizing people to get the box before the summit. One of the most powerful things is if you're able to when you look at a summit model that is, you're interviewing a lot of speakers ahead of time, it's all pre-recorded. One of the most powerful things that you can do is repurpose that content and create a story that goes inside the box. So when that virtual experience does happen, when that virtual summit goes live, you have tools and resources to increase the level of engagement. So one of the things that we found is if you can create those boxes and get them out before the event, it is one of the most powerful ways to gain organic traffic and really authentic organic traffic. Krista, you and I have talked so much about some of our biggest pet peeves in the summit game. One of my biggest pet peeves is the forced promotion where they say, you're speaking at my event, you have to promote. The thing about that is when I see those forced promotions, they feel inauthentic. What's really cool about when you introduce a box with it and you send a box to your speaker before the event, it's really cool to see the impact of that because they authentically get really excited. They share it with their audience and you're getting all this organic traffic as a result. So one of the things you can look at boxes as is a different form of paid traffic. You would pay, rather than doing Facebook ads, I'd rather send you something that gets you authentically excited to want to take pictures with it, share with the world with it, and then give you those resources to increase engagement during the event. So that's kind of where my head goes with a virtual summit. And the other thing that you can do with it is one of the biggest things about a summit that's so powerful is it's such a great way to nurture your audience, but it's also a really powerful way to pre-frame the next step of the journey. So leverage a box and give them some tactical pieces to get those small wins that they can have, very easy, quick wins. You can put a workbook, you can put some worksheets in there as well. But if you can get them in the mindset that they're getting these small wins, when you deliver whatever that next step is in the equation to serve them at a greater level, be it a course, coaching program, high ticket offer, it's a whole different engagement level than with a digital only experience.
Oh yeah, there's like a totally new elevated level of connection you have just by sending them something in the mail. It's like, and like that, like I'm thinking of, courses I've bought, even when people send me a mug, that person then stands out. What if you send them like actually something that's well thought out related to the event you're hosting? Like that's just even more elevated.
That's such a great, so this is a perfect thing to say, like what's a good item to put in a box? I have to build upon it because that was so perfect. Things like a mug, like if you did a virtual event, really, you want to establish yourself as the trusted mentor to those who are participating in the events. That's why it's so critical that you want people to connect with you, and you want people, like, I don't think people in this game want to have 20 to 30 different mentors that they buy with a lot of different courses. I think people are just looking for a trusted mentor that can help take them to the next level, address some of the pain points that they're having. And the cool thing about even the simplicity of including a mug or a wine glass, you can create those experiences during your virtual summit, like a virtual coffee chat, like come meet the host and everyone can bring their glasses. And the cool thing about it is if you do that live in a Zoom room where you can see everyone's face and everyone is holding that coffee mug, it kind of creates the FOMO for those who don't have the coffee mug to say, where do I get the coffee mug to be a part of this experience? You're building community. It's really powerful.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I've seen that already be true with the boxes we just have shipping out. People are already emailing us like, where can I get one of these boxes? If it's part of a summit where they see all of these people that have something, like you said, even as simple as a mug, oh my gosh, now they want to be a part of that thing too. And this is like this episode, like, wasn't supposed to be like just a big, huge promo, but I love everything that Mark does. So I feel like you should tell us about your virtual social boxes since,
oh my goodness,
since we're on the topic.
Yeah, no. So it's really funny. This is a product that it started just because when COVID happened, like I had all these events where I was going to meet up with people and lots of different entrepreneurs and family throughout the year that all got canceled. So we started doing these virtual socials, virtual happy hours. Every Thursday at 6:00, I met with a group. And then it started happening organically with family members. And then it happened with fraternity brothers from undergrad who I've lost connection with. And it happened to friends from business school. So all of a sudden we were doing these little virtual gatherings just to connect with people. So, we introduced a whole product line and now we're about to launch a whole Build-A-Bear website that's going to go live this month where people can go on and customize their boxes and quickly get them out to market. But that's where Virtual Social Box was born, which is essentially fully branded box for you. And it includes as a base, a welcome note, a custom insert, your choice of glass, if you want a wine glass, rocks glass, or a coffee mug. And then it includes a set of coasters in there as well. And we brand the coasters. We're doing some really cool things with QR code and QR code automation where you can control a QR code that's on the coasters. But the whole premise of it is create these experiences, be intentional with creating these experiences that bring people together. And the cool thing about it is you can leverage it at the front end of your value ladder, the back end. People are leveraging these boxes so many different ways, but it's truly about being intentional on how physical and digital come together to create those experiences.
Yeah. And I love that. It's so perfect for a virtual event. And especially when you maybe you didn't think of it far enough in advance and you like need something fast, like something smaller like that is a perfect idea. Mark, if there is someone who, has a bigger timeline and they want to create like a more kind of robust box for the summit, what are some top things you would say they should have in it? Yeah,
it's a great question. This is like, we went through this journey together, and I think it's such a fun process because you really have to suspend inhibition and say like, what is it that could truly serve your audience in the best way possible? Because I'm sure that like our first conversation to where we are now, literally for those listening, I got Chris's box in hand today and I freaking love it. I love how it turned out. And I can't wait for you to get it in hand. I can't believe I got it in hand before you got it in hand.
It's not okay.
But like, here's what you want to do. Like at the bare minimum, if you're doing a virtual event, like I always tell people there's 6 types of items you can stick in a box. And there's no like the combination is just different from what you're trying to do. But one, you want to have a welcome note or a welcome piece. It could be a video. It could be just a welcome note. The whole idea is to orient people on the who, what, when, where, why for the box that they're sending. I've received things in the mail that I had no idea who sent it to me. So this is kind of like framing the box. These things are super inexpensive. It's like a color page. It could be just a couple of pennies to produce that. The next piece is promotion or swag. The cool thing about promotional or swag is that people just love promotion and swag. They love t-shirts. They love water bottles. They love stickers. It's just a really powerful way to give something for people to put on their desk, have nearby, be a constant reminder of what they do. You put unlimited impact on everything. Like it's an inspirational quote. So like that's the cool thing is that some people want to put their branding on swag. Other people want to put something that's aspirational. The third item is what we call a support item. Support items are things that are designed to set people up for success. So a workbook, how we leverage Post-it notes. If you have your own like tools that you use that you train from, like you can give the tools to be successful. Like if I were to teach you how to launch a course or build a coaching program, I'm the type of person that when I plot things out and I'm building out a new program, I use a ton of Post-it notes. That's a success item. Books are success items or support items. So it's like, what are things you can stick inside the box that would eliminate barriers to being successful? The fourth type of item that I always tell people to think about is what we call an engagement item. This is great for virtual events. So when we talk about engagement, can you stick something in the box that would get me to interact or engage live through an experience? A lot of people love to do the photo booth props, which is pretty much like an emoji on a medallion glued to a popsicle stick. It's just a way that they can engage. This is another reason why we love a wine glass or a coffee mug, because I can create a virtual social of some sort to engage with people over a virtual coffee chat. It's just about engagement. And then the last two pieces, one is a take action piece. This is something you always want to think about. Take action piece is like sticking something in the box that gets people to do something. How do you get people to move? So this could be join my coaching program, have a flyer for your coaching program. It could be post a picture on Instagram. It could be anything that gets them to take an action that you're asking them to take. It could be refer a friend or join an affiliate program. And then the last piece that we always tell people to think about is what we call a story element. And I actually think this is the most important one because this is about really establishing connections. So a story piece inside a box is sticking an item that is insignificant when you see it, but when you know the story behind it, instantly becomes this mark of connection. So a perfect example of this is Ryan Levesque. When I was in his coaching program, he sent out boxes and he stuck this little Lego piece inside the box. So his story piece was probably something that cost pennies, was not that expensive. But when you hear him tell his why and you hear his story as to why he does what he does, it brings back to his childhood and his love for Legos. And he tells the story in such an inspiring way that like you don't want to get rid of that Lego piece. And I held on to it for years. I have something similar that I put a coin with a picture, an animated picture of my dog. It gets into my own personal story. I have a friend who puts an origami crane in her box because it talks about her relationship with her father and why she does what she does. But it's a simple thing. Some people like to do the Live Strong bracelets or some type of trinket, but it's just a really cool way to be able to further connect and bring a little bit more than what meets the eye for a story piece. So I know I just did a lot, Krista. I dropped a lot of different information. I am happy to give you a resource if it would be helpful for the listeners just to have a breakdown of that list, because even listening to myself, I was like, there's a lot of moving pieces here. But yeah, this is the journey we take people through. Is we tell people, think through 6 different types. Not every box needs all 6 of these, but a welcome piece, a swag piece, a support piece, a take action piece, an engagement piece, and a story piece. You don't need all 6, but thinking through those constraints make it easy to start to decipher what's the story we want to put inside the box.
Yeah. And I just feel right there goes to show like how much more of an elevated experience you can create through a box than what we might originally think. Like you said earlier, it's not just swag. You're digging so much deeper. And when you do, whether it's for a summit or a course or whatever it is, people notice that. And that just like comes back to serve you over and over and over too. So I love that. You can go as deep as you want to when it comes to making a box for your event or anything else, really. So powerful. Yeah, we will get that resource from you. We'll get that at the end. One more thing I want to ask you is, what are some things our hosts need to consider if they're thinking of adding something like a box to their summit?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, for me, the biggest thing I would say is you want a welcome note. You want some type of support element in there, like a workbook or something that can complement the experience. Engagement is huge as well. So if I can find things that get people to interact with the experience experience while it's happening live are all great things. The biggest thing I would say from a host perspective, though, is a lot of people think the large boxes, like I need to build this huge box and it's going to cost all this money. The reality is that like there's boxes of all different shapes and sizes. We've even worked with people who did packs that they wanted just to send a pack. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that breaks the bank. But the biggest challenge that I'll tell you is that, and we've tested this as well, we hosted a virtual summit called High Ticket Online. It was all about high ticket sales. And instead of selling an all access pass, we sold the box. And the box itself, we knew what our numbers were and we knew what our hard costs were. So this was a key learning that I hope is helpful for those who are listening. You know, this is one of the things that I knew that my hard cost to produce this box was about $35, including shipping and handling. And we had priced it at $97 plus $20 for shipping and handling. But knowing my numbers, like we offered our speakers 100% affiliate commission for every box that they sold. And the reason we did that was they got the $97 or the $100 that we priced for the box. They didn't get the shipping and handling. But by the time you like broke out the shipping and handling, knowing that it was $35 hard cost, $20 for shipping and handling, we were losing $15 for every box sold. But we also had a bump that was converting at 60%, and we had OTOs that were converting as well. So although we took a loss on the box, what ended up happening was our speakers took ownership of the box and started incorporating it into their own offers. So they were getting even louder about it because it was an easy $100 in their pocket. They didn't have to do anything. And it made them look like a star how we represented them in the box. So although we didn't, make money, we made it back. We were never in the red. We made it from our bumps. We made it from our upsells. And the big thing was it wasn't about the $100 box price or the all access pass that we were selling. It was about the next step. That was where kind of we could serve at a greater level. We wanted to create such a killer wow experience that even though we didn't make a lot of money on the front end, on the back end, that's where we made our money. And that's where that investment and that risk, just knowing your numbers, is so critical. So if you're brand new to boxes, or if this is something that you've been in the game a lot, like for a while, there's different solutions. There's different ways to position it. But even when I did my very first summit, not even knowing what I was doing, we still had a physical product that we sent out to everyone who bought it. And it's funny to think that every summit I've done, I've actually had a physical product. But for those listening, like this isn't a one day I'll be there. Like you're there. Just think strategically about how you're going to fit into the equation. And it may be the difference between creating a standout experience that allows you to serve your audience at a greater level and like just being another summit that, there's no shortage of summits these days with what's happening in COVID. So it could be that differentiator that really makes you stand out.
Oh, heck yes. So yeah, know your numbers and figure out what's your bigger strategy other than just selling the box. Kind of like if you're going to host a summit. Okay, you're not just hosting a summit. What's that next step? What do you think as far as timing goes? How far in advance should someone start planning if they want to be able to launch a box when they launch the summit?
Yeah, I would tell you that I would want to see the boxes complete and ready to go 3 weeks before the summit. Mm-hmm. So if we back into it, if you know your summit date, the reason I say like ready to go 3 weeks is because you want to take advantage of getting a box out to your speakers beforehand, because they're going to start to promote it. And just when they authentically promote, like especially before an event, it's such an amazing organic traffic, because what's going to happen is other people are going to say, how do I get that? How do I get one of those? So I would just say, if you know that, then it's just, if you're the type of person that will take your content and repurpose it out, the longest part of the process is printing the boxes, which is about a 3-week time frame once you approve the artwork. So before your summit, if you took 2 to 3 months beforehand and started plotting out that box and we're ready to go about 3 weeks in advance, it could be even 2 weeks in advance. My challenge that I would always say is if you can get ahead of it in a way that you can build out the story and it's done and you don't have to worry about it, it's so powerful to see, people start to get loud leading up into your event. And it's just a really powerful thing when you're able to physically hold, I want to send this to you, and you can hold a box in your pictures and show them things that you want to send them. It's just real. It's just a different experience.
Oh my gosh. So true. Thank you so much for all of this good stuff. I know we have some brains exploding and like wheels turning very, very fast, figuring out how this will fit. Where can people go to learn more about you, what you offer, resources you have? If you want to mention anything specific, please feel free.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I have a Facebook group called Experience Design Central, and it's all about how to monetize with custom boxes. You can go into our website, customboxagency.com and virtualsocialbox.com, and we're going to be relaunching our custom box challenge soon. So it's a great way to learn how to do it yourself.
Love it. You guys definitely go check that out. Mark makes such an incredible experience, both if you choose to work with him and just like through the box you create for your people. Go check it out. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. For show notes and resources mentioned, head to summitHostHangout.com/118. In the next episode, we'll be chatting about how to increase engagement and the results your attendees get through your event by incorporating quizzes. So be sure to tune in for that. Now go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit.